I'm just running to the bathroom quick.
Okay. I'm going to quick take this moment.
Are we up and running here?
We are. Good evening, everyone. I see 9 board members here and our superintendent and Thomas McIntyre and other folks. Welcome. Okay, so this was our call to order for the May 18th, 2020 regular board meeting of the East Stroudsburg Area School District. We'll start with a pledge of allegiance. There we go. All right.
Roll call.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Patricia, can we have roll call, please?
Yes. George Andrews.
Here.
Rebecca Bear.
Muted.
She's muted.
She's here. Okay. Damari Bookia.
Here.
Larry Diamond.
Present.
Sharon Glasgow.
Here.
Debbie Kulik. Wayne Roner.
He's here.
Rich Schlamus.
Here.
Lisa Van Wy.
Here.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Just want to say that
Did you get me? I said yes, but I was unmuted.
Yes, I got you.
Okay.
would just like to recognize the extraordinary efforts of our parents, our caregivers, students, teachers, the whole community, as well as our district administration to be able to complete this this semester, this year, this academic year in remarkable form. We've had a lot of challenges thrown our way this academic year, and I think our community, our district, our parents, our students, our teachers have really risen to the occasion. And with 2 weeks left, we're sitting in an okay condition going into the summertime. So thank you very much. Announcement of executive session. An executive session was held this evening before the meeting for the purpose of discussing personnel, litigation, and negotiations. I will mention that we will be going back into executive session after this meeting is over. For the purpose of attempting to save some time, for those items that will appear to be no objection, I will state if there is no objection, we will adopt a motion to, and there won't need to be a vote on it. However, if there is an objection to that, please raise your hand, please say something quickly so that we don't have to, so we can have that conversation. But for some more simpler things, I think that's an easier way to go. All right, so for example, a motion to approve the minutes of the, okay, I'm sorry, motion to adopt this agenda for May 18th, 2020, as submitted, with the Board of Education reserving the right to add to the agenda, take further action on any item raised in executive session where immediate action on such items is considered to be in the best interest of the district.
So moved.
I have a motion from Deborah.
Second, Lisa.
Okay, second, Lisa. All right. Can I now? So we have a motion and a second discussion.
Yes,
Very
I would
good.
like to add to the agenda.
Yes.
I would like to add policy 424 to the agenda for a board vote.
For board vote, has the board had an opportunity to see policy?
Policy 424 is personal files. The language in there requires a majority vote to have access to the personnel files. We have less than 6 weeks to do an evaluation of the superintendent and assistant superintendent. I'm looking for the evaluations.
Okay, so your
Already
motion,
policy, right?
right? So
That
the
is policy 424.
his policy is, he's not making a recommendation to review the policy. I think what you're saying is that you want you want to make a motion that authorizes the board to view the evaluations of specific staff. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to review I guess the reviews of
Personnel files.
personnel files of specific folks. Do you want to identify those specific folks? Actually,
The professional staff, it's in reference to policies 302, 312, and 313.
okay. All right, so there's a motion.
Second.
There's a second to add this to the agenda. So we're going to add this under, Chris, will we do that under, where would we put that?
Do we have to vote to add it to the agenda, or is it just?
Yeah, to add, we have to vote to add to the agenda, right? And
I mean, you can do it right after the 300s.
right after the 300s, okay?
And I want to clarify, when you had mentioned professional, do you want administrative personnel files as well?
Well, I think that's what the language was in that policy, yes.
Okay,
I believe that was the intent.
just want to make it clear for public participation what the board will be voting on.
We didn't all vote on that.
No, we didn't. So we have to have a motion and a second. And I'm asking Chris, where would we put this if we did discuss it? And he's saying after the 300s? And all right, so motion and a second. Let's take a roll call vote on this, please.
This is
And
just to put it
Rona?
on the agenda, correct?
This is just to put it on the agenda.
Wayne Roner,
Yes,
George Andrews,
Yes.
Rebecca Bear,
Yes.
Mary Bonilla,
No.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
Sharon Glasgow,
Sorry, no.
Debbie Kulik,
No.
Rich Lamus,
No.
Lisa Van Wy.
No,
I hear 5 votes for no, 4 for yes.
Correct.
Okay, and I just want to be clear that as part of Dr. Riker's goals, he is to provide to us evidence that he's performed evaluations on all of our administrative staff. and that's part of his goals, and that will be part of his review. Okay, that's what we've agreed on before. We do not have the right to view evaluations unless there's some significant pressing need on the basis of that employee. In my opinion, and I may be wrong. Okay, any other motions, any other items that need to be put on the agenda? Okay, I think there's a motion out there about adding something for Lyman and Ash.
Yes. Chris has the verbiage for that.
Yes. Chris?
Yeah, it would be a motion to authorize Lyman and Ash to retain experts in the elements of fire systems on behalf of the school district.
All right, there be somebody to make this motion?
Motion.
I heard
Second that.
George,
Damari second.
Damari second. So I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Okay, if there's no objection, we will adopt this to the agenda. Where would we put this? Under properties and facilities?
We still have to vote on it.
Oh, right, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, so let's do a roll call vote. I'm so sorry.
George Andrews,
Yes.
Tamara Bonilla,
Yes.
Rebecca Bear,
Yes.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
Jerome Glasgow,
Yes.
Debbie Kulik,
Yes.
Wayne Roner,
Yes.
Rich Schlemus,
Yes,
Lisa Van Wyn,
Yes.
9-0.
thank you very much. Okay, any other motions to add to the agenda? Okay, so seeing
we have
no,
to-
go ahead.
I was gonna say, do we have to do the motion for the Raceway graduation? Because that's not on the agenda, is it?
It is. And I believe
It's on there.
it's on there. I've seen it.
Mhm.
Actually, yeah, I'm just gonna say yes and know that it's there. And if I'm wrong, we can make an amendment before the end of the meeting. How's that, George?
Well, that's fine. I just,
Okay.
I just want to make sure we got it done, that's all.
We're gonna have that discussion. Okay.
Page
So,
13, George.
just here. So this is what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna say, if there is no objections, we will adopt the motion to accept this agenda for our meeting tonight. And I don't need a vote on anybody unless they say, oh, I object to that. Okay, all right. Approval of the minutes. A motion to approve the minutes of April 20th, 2020 and April 29th, 2020 board meetings.
I, Rebecca, make a motion.
Thank you, Rebecca.
I second Damari.
Thank you, Damari. Discussion.
I just wanted to see if you could have noted where I lost transmission. The vote was in support that we did at the last meeting.
She's breaking up.
You need to get closer to the window.
You have to get closer to the window.
Can't go away from the wall.
Okay, or wherever, yes. Yeah. Okay, so you want to have the minutes amended to the fact that you voted yes to something, correct?
Yes, but I was in support. Actually, I texted my
Yes.
vote.
It-
Second
it-
to it.
Right, okay. Do we have that? Okay. All right, so we've had a motion, second, discussion. If there's no objection, we will adopt the motion to approve the minutes of the April 20th, 2020 meeting and April 29, 2020 board meetings. Okay, hearing none, moved or accepted or whatever. All right, reports, Monroe Career and Technical Institute.
Rich, just to be clear, we're going to record those as 9-0 affirmative votes, right?
Yes,
Okay, good.
if
Thanks.
anybody objects to that, make a statement immediately. Okay. Monroe Career and Technical Institute.
Yes, thank you. Monroe Career and Technical Institute appointed a new treasurer, Rusty Johnson. He's Pocono Mountain Board Chair for a one-year term. We reappointed Diane Surfoss as the business manager Diane Surfoss, the business manager, as the JOC secretary for the 2020 to 2024 school year. Phase 1 of the roof project was designated as critical construction in light of COVID-19 disaster emergency guidance so that the roof project can proceed soon. We renewed the food service contract with Chartwell, our life insurance, and our 36-month HP lease renewal. The awards ceremony, we are working on a pre-recorded video featuring the students' photos and a short student video giving remarks about their time at MCTI. The goal is to have it completed by June 10th. And that's all I have for this evening.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Colonial IU20 update.
Thank you, Rich. The Colonial IU20 hosted a virtual prom on May 8th, and there was a partnership with the local radio station WLEV 100.7, which helped promote the prom and really excite students and the community about the virtual celebration, which we know is difficult for some of the students as it is, because they were looking forward to the in-person celebration. So that was extra special. The Colonial IU20 graduation will take place virtually this Wednesday at 6 p.m. If anyone is interested in attending, please let me know and we will make sure that you have the information. They are continuing to provide support for families and students, as well as resources for the staff, such as webinars about what benefits are they able to use in this time of crisis, what kind of information they might need to do their jobs better, etc. Overall, some positive moves in the IU20 during this time of crisis.
Okay, thank you very much, Damari. Properties and Facilities Committee update.
Yes, thank you. On the agenda tonight, you will see several invoices for payment as a recommendation from Properties and Facilities. 3, Dewey Engineering invoices for High School North roof replacement, Resica water filtration, JTL, and Resica flooring replacement. Also, you'll see recommendations for payment of application number 9, C&D waterproofing for Resica roof project, Syntex inspection of fire safety systems, kitchen sprinkler systems, and fire extinguishers. Also, as a recommendation, Keystone, that kind of goes along with it, Keystone Fire Protection to convert the fire alarm system to cellular at JM Hill, and also for the monitoring of that system. Also discuss summer projects and how the COVID closings may affect our timelines. In addition, due to the leak from the storm damage, I'm sorry, I can't even read my own writing. We had some damage to Lehman Gym floor. We're considering options to replace the floor. It is an insurance. We will get insurance for that, but we're also considering if we want to replace the floor at that time, just because of cost, and they're doing it. But we also have another issue up there with paint chipping from the pipes above. So I believe Daryl, I believe he did send me some, they have a couple of estimates so far, but they don't have all the estimates to send forward for us yet due to, just slowing down of, COVID and everything. So although the high school north floor is we're ready to go with that, we do have to wait and see what we're doing with these pipes before we choose to paint them. And we don't want to do that on a new floor. So I believe that's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Education Programs and Resources Committee.
Thank you, Rich. We met on May 6th to discuss the middle school programs with a presentation by Mr. Ryan Moran and his team. We also discussed the idea of renovating the high schools and middle schools libraries. Mr. Moran and his team will share a proposal with the committee next month, and we will consider next steps and recommendations. Our meeting next month is scheduled for June 3rd, where we'll also discuss our high school programs. And one of the things I'd like to note is that we have had good participation from our community, and we'll hope that that continues. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Damari. All right, Finance Committee.
Hopefully my dogs don't go crazy barking. They just literally just stop barking like crazy. So hopefully they don't. We had a presentation from Mr. Schmidt in regards to our current breakfast and lunch program with the deliveries. And we would like, you're gonna see on the agenda to continue that until the end of June. And hopefully we can continue it all summer. It's with the money and the grant money we're getting and what it's costing, we're actually making a little money on it. We're not losing, which is great. We also went over the final budget plan, which you'll see tonight. We put out bids for trash and recycle, and waste management had the best bid for that. We need to decide between a 3 and a 5 year. We're looking at, as Lisa said, options for the Lehman floor, whether to replace just the section that was water damaged or the entire floor, because insurance will only pay for the section. We also did a CoStar bid for the materials to maintain our fields, since we now do that ourselves. And Fisherson, I believe, had the best price on that, which was $22,422. And they come highly recommended. A lot of people said that they're one of the best out there. And we also spoke about the fraud reporting service through Lighthouse, which is the anonymous phone line that employees and parents and students can call if they suspect fraud. And the cost for that is $1,085 annually. And we're going to try to order some posters to put up in the schools as well and in the administrative building. So that may be a little bit extra. We just haven't got the exact cost for that yet. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. Policy Review Committee.
Thanks, Rich. The Policy Review Committee met earlier this evening and have recommended the following administration post to the following policies for public review during the month of May, and subsequent board action in June, pending final review by the district's legal counsel. Policy 625, procurement, Policy 718, service animals in schools, a new policy. Policy 828, fraud. Policy 829, whistleblowers policy, also a new policy. Policy 913, non-school organization groups and individuals. We also did review policy number 000, titled Board Policy Procedure Administrative Regulations, and Board Policy 616, Payment of Bills with minor edits. So they will come back to next month's meeting with those revisions. And lastly, we reviewed and would like to further discuss policy number 815, acceptable use of the computers, network, internet, electronic communications and information systems, and further review on policy number 221, dress and grooming. That concludes the policy meeting information to be shared.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Moving on to the next big item, the proposed final budget presentation. Thomas.
Thank you, Rich. Good evening, everybody. So where we left off from April 29th, next slide. Remember we talked about the virus revenue shortfalls that we could possibly lose up to $7 million in revenue, or about $6 million with our other deficit that we projected prior to that. It was up to a possible $7 million. Also at that meeting, the board directed the administration not to go with not to raise the millage. So that's why that line is across the 3.2%, which was our index, our adjusted index, which would have generated an additional $1.5 million for the district. So then the summary, next page, just to go over those the last three times we provided the actual budget where we were going with the numbers we felt comfortable with. And as you can see, as of April 20th, we had last reported a $1.2 million deficit. And then next page. And then these were some of the local revenue reductions assumptions because of the COVID-19. Some of them were with property tax. The estimates came in at a 1.95% decrease. Earned income tax, the state was thinking we'd be down about 15%. Real estate transfer tax was 28% decrease. Delinquent tax collection was about 25%. Interim taxes, which are when people are building homes or renovating their homes, they don't pay the full new value on their taxes. Real estate taxes, so this is a 50% decrease. And then investment earnings, obviously, with way the stock market has been handling the crisis, about an 80% decrease. So total estimated reductions was about $6.7 million, just in estimates. This is what the state was putting out in our associations. So I took those numbers and I went through what happened to us in the past, looked back at from 2008, 2011, and looked to see where we actually stood as a district and how we weathered the storm personally. Next slide, Brett. So going from draft 2, which was back on April 20th, and as today, as we stand today, property taxes, our collection rate has has been lower the last couple of years compared to prior years to that. So I actually took a larger chunk of money out of reductions because of this the COVID-19. So we're estimating a $3.4 million decrease in our property collections. Our real estate transfer tax, we just lowered that at $200,000. Delinquent taxes, we're estimating, we've been pretty good at collecting those the last couple of years. So I'm just looking for a slight decrease in that of $2 million. Interim taxes, we took what they estimated at a 50%, which was a lot of these were just mostly how it was in the past. The last two times the economy had a decrease. And then the last two are based off of salary reductions, which I'll show on the next couple slides. State share of the FICA, which is the payroll taxes, and then the state share of PSERS, which is the state retirement. And as you can see, that was a total of a little over $30,000. So this time, our budget adjustments for our revenue are looking at a reduction of $5.6 million. You go to the next slide, these will be our investments. And again, with our salaries and benefits, our salaries, we did lower our salaries based on retirements. We did have several retirements come in since our last time we presented back in April. Some good news in our benefits area, that also went down because of the retirements, because that's all formulated on percentages. But also we had a reduction in our healthcare costs that we put into our that covers our trust fund that handles our medical claims as a district. We run that at usually about a 5% increase. We're looking at only about a 3% increase, which ended up being about a $600,000 savings to the district. So that was a very big I was very happy. Good news for the district when we got those reports right in the beginning of May. We went over those with our healthcare provider. 300 are professional services. We had some reductions. We got our cost estimates from the IU, and we moved some. Our transportation was covered under 300. We moved that into a 500. So it actually, with our services that we looking to reduce in some areas, but then we also increased in some other areas, which gave us a savings of about $200,000, $225,000. And then, as you can see in the other purchase services, which is where we moved the IU transportation costs from the 300 to the 500 series. So all in all, our total reductions in the expense side or the investment side, I like to call, of our district, where our tax dollars are being invested, we were able to reduce that another additional $1 million. So to the next screen, our proposed final budget. Our anticipated revenues are going to come in at $158,563,341. Our anticipated investments, our expenses, are $164,537.19, which will currently show a deficit of $5,973,678. So how are we gonna cover that? As I mentioned back on April 29th, the board directed to use our fund balance to cover the costs. As you can see, I highlighted several years ago, we did budget we did assign a fund balance of $8,488,000 to future budget expenditures. And I have that highlighted there on the screen. And as you can see, that is higher than what we're looking to use to cover the budget, a budget deficit. A couple of things to note while we're talking about that. With our revenue, there's still a lot of things happening in Harrisburg. Right now, I have everything flatlined, as in revenue sources coming in. We talked last meeting, in our finance meeting, about the $1.7 million of the stimulus or the CARES Act funding. That is coming through, and that will be coming through as a federal grant. So I will make some tweaks to the budget. You'll see that number on the federal side, but I will reduce the, unless I hear anything otherwise in the next 3 weeks, I will reduce our state subsidy by 1.7 million, just to keep it even. Hopefully that will not happen. Hopefully they will at least fund us to the current levels that we received in 1920. But it's still hush hush down in Harrisburg. They're not really telling us what to expect. So I'm trying to keep us balanced as at a flat rate. Like I said last week, I'd rather be wrong if they provide us that additional 1.7, and then that our deficit will actually obviously drop down to 5, projected down to a 4.2. Again, that's wishful, but I'm hoping that, I guess if I'm hoping I'm going to be wrong, rather be wrong that way. In addition to, the governor's budget did provide the district an extra $400,000 in funding. I really don't see that happening. They're having the same shortfalls as we are on the income tax, on the earned income tax. Theirs is at 3.01%. And they also, their sales tax has been shorted by billions of dollars. So they have their own financial worries right now. And I'm not sure if they'll be able to support the districts like they have. But again, we'll see coming down the future. Just a couple more slides here. The next one is just our millage rates. Monroe County's millage rate, as we stand right now, will be at 30.72 mils, which is much different than it looked last year at this time. Again, Monroe County had a reassessment done, and in order to keep us within the 3% rule, without gaining more than 3% of revenue on the Monroe County side, That's where the number comes to. The actual number comes out a little bit lower, but then Pike County, we're a multi-county district, and there's a re-equalization, a balancing of our property taxes by state law. And the board directed he did not want to raise Pike County taxes or any taxes whatsoever, so Pike County would stay the same. And then the balancing act took several times to get it to balance out, but we got it to the 30.72. So that is our tax rates that you will be voting on. A preliminary vote, you will have the final vote in June. And then my last two slides is what's next. It's just the school board. You will be voting today. You're voting on the preliminary budget, which we will put in the state, as in the state form as required by the code, and we will provide that on our website for view for the next 30 days. And then then in June, the board will vote on the final budget. That is all I have. Any questions, comments?
Any questions, folks?
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Thomas.
Thanks, Tom.
A lot of work goes into that.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, we are now set for public participation, limited to comments on this agenda by residents and taxpayers of the school district. You have 3 minutes. We have a little clock that'll turn on if to announce those 3 minutes. And I am looking for participants here. Hold on a second. All right, so I see hands up from Maria. So
Yes, I'm
Maria,
here.
go for it.
Okay, I'm here tonight to speak again about the dress code since it's back up on the agenda again. Fundamentally, I just do not believe it's the school administration or the school board's function to tell students what they can wear. Instead, I think it's appropriate to clarify how they should wear their clothes. This would fall under Code 218, student behavior, and it shouldn't even be a dress code in the actual documents. The board should specify appropriate lengths, pictures, and messaging found on clothing and leave it at that. The staff should receive clear instruction on how to enforce this discipline code. All of the issues we've had for the past decade have been in proper and inconsistent enforcement of the code. And had it always been a priority to enforce it correctly, we wouldn't be in the situation that we've been in for the past 10 years. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Maria. Keith Carcutt.
Thank you, Rich. A couple questions of concern. I'm looking at the agenda for tonight and see item, it's under local board procedures, authority and powers. I'm quite concerned with that particular motion that's being brought up. I don't recall that ever being addressed by the policy committee in the past. I read this, that you're taking the power, you're basically taking the powers away from the board as far as checks and balances. And I would just like to make a statement. I feel that the board is the checks and balances for the people. And if they can't ask for documents other than at a board meeting once a month or a couple times a month, that's not going to allow board members to properly do their job. And tuned with also policies, there was a mention of the service animal policy being brought up. I don't recall that being brought up at tonight's meeting, so I'm not sure if that was a mistake, but I don't remember them talking about that beforehand. So I don't, if that was not, it's be posted, or I'm just questioning that, why that's posted. And then the other thing I have is Mr. McIntyre mentioned about the budgeting process, but I didn't hear him say anything about Representative Maureen Madden's request for money, that she publicly stated that she put a request in that districts in our area, specifically ours, was she put a request in for us to get additional monies through the COVID crisis from the state. And I don't know if that was allocated into the deficit. And then one final question is one statement, I guess I should, because you don't have to answer the question, but I noticed that there's in the board approving the expenditures tonight, you're approving money to go to Pocono Raceway, but yet I couldn't find any contract paperwork to see what it entailed for our almost $10,000. Just wondering what that entails and what the district is getting for that, what the school districts, the kids are getting for that, and how that's affecting our families and attendance, if it's worth it for us to even do that. But that's pretty much it, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. All right. Audrey?
Hi. First of all, I want to thank you guys for reaching out and making it so that our kids have a place to graduate, and with a date, which is soon, instead of, at the high school where who knows when they'd be able to graduate or how they'd be able to graduate. So I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. And then again, I said it at the policy meeting. I'm going to say it again about dress code. It's enough already. Our kids don't need a dress code. They're home, they're learning, and who knows what. And it doesn't matter. These kids are learning. As long as they're learning, it shouldn't matter what they're wearing. What is so bad about jeans? Just make sure they're not ripped. They're wearing them anyway. They're just not denim color. It's really, and I said it in the meeting before, there are kids in other states that wear crop tops and booty shorts. And you know what? They're ending up in the top 10% of their class. I don't think our kids should wear crop tops or booty shorts. I don't think that's okay. But if we can stick to jeans and nice t-shirts and just let the kids be kids, I think it'll be fine. Our kids, again, are not cookie cutter kids. Not everybody is shaped the same way. Just give them a chance to be them. And now with everybody seeing that you can work from home, that may change. So they probably won't even have to worry about all these ways about dressing for jobs now. They'll be comfortable at home anyway. Thank you for your time. And again, thank you for the graduation for our children.
Thanks, Audrey.
Thank you, Audrey. Okay. Any other further comment out there? I don't see any, unless there's something coming in from another source.
Mr. Durst has his hand up.
Okay. I did not. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Durst.
Good evening. I just wanted to introduce myself quickly. My name is Ricky Durst, and I'm here on behalf of Pocono Raceway to discuss the graduation opportunity we have in front of us. We're very proud of it. We had a great few meetings so far, and hopefully we can get some questions answered tonight. But I just want to thank everyone for their consideration, and we look forward to an opportunity to properly honor and celebrate the class of 2020. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you. All right. Any other business? Any other folks out there?
Rich, I don't know how to raise my hand here, so I'm raising.
Okay, there you go. I see your hand is raised.
Okay. I also want to thank you for going and doing something about graduation also. I know that since day one of this crisis, we have decided as a group that these kids were going to graduate. And I know that there's a lot of the kids on right now that are pretty upset that they're not going to be graduating at South. And they all wanted to be at this meeting tonight, and they all wanted to say something. I think a lot of them are on YouTube right now and didn't realize they had to actually be on Zoom to actually speak right now. But I think that they all don't actually realize that if they were going to be graduating at South, that they would only be graduating 10 at a time. And there's no date because we can't be at the school yet. So having this opportunity to graduate at the racetrack, I think is just the bonus. They have a date. A date is set. They're already making history being in the class of 2020 that got quarantined. They get to do something cool and ride the racetrack and pick up their diploma. But they're also getting so many more opportunities to do things. And the day that they get to drop off their things, they're going to have a time that they can wear their not their uniform, their cap and gowns again, and they can walk a stage, they can take some pictures. So make it the day that you bring your 10 friends are in the car behind you and you get to see each other do it. They are going to have so many things they get to do together. And I don't think that they realize those points, that if they are going to be at South, they don't actually have a date. So they wouldn't actually know if they'd be graduating. So I know that they're pretty upset and everybody wants to speak and say some words, but I think they have this opportunity with the racetrack, and they should be grateful that they actually have something happening. And I'm pretty happy that we can offer them an opportunity to graduate, unlike some people that are just picking up their paper in the mailbox. So thank you so much for giving them the graduation that you guys promised day one of being at home. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Rich, I got a text-in question.
Okay, let's
Someone
go
who
for
couldn't
it.
get into the thing, so they asked me if I can read it. Is it okay if
Sure,
I do?
please
Okay.
do.
Okay. It's from some of our lunch employees, and they said they were wondering if it'd be possible for the ones that are helping out with the lunch delivery, if they can receive their full pay until the end of June to the extreme circumstances. She said, I really appreciate it as we all work hard working lunch ladies, get out thousands of lunches per day. As of right now, come June 3rd, our pay goes to $13 per hour, much less than we recently made just during this extenuating circumstances. So they just want to know if we've thought about looking into their pay for them to the month end for just the ones that are volunteering for the extra time.
Thank you. And that will be an issue that would need to be discussed in executive session, as that has ramifications for payroll. Am I correct on that, Chris, or is that?
It's perfectly appropriate for us to discuss that further in executive session, yes.
Right. Okay, thank you.
We'll let her know.
All right, awesome. All right, if there are no other texts, emails, any kind of stuff like that, then we will move on to unfinished business. Seeing none, we'll move on to new business, starting with local board procedures. And a recommendation, a motion that as an internal board process, and as direction to the administration, all requests for additional documentation and information by the board or its members to district administrators shall be made as the result of board action at a public meeting, either following referral from a board committee or otherwise as the board shall deem advisable. I am looking for a motion on this.
So moved, Mary.
Thank
Rebecca,
you.
second.
Rebecca seconds. I have a motion and a second. So let's discuss.
Let's discuss it.
All right, I am the one who asked that this be placed on the agenda. I did. And I did this because I feel, it's not that I feel, I have been told that, and I have seen the emails from board members to administration that are asking for documents that are redundant or will take a lot of time or do not actually represent the board as a collective whole. Board members have no more rights than John Q. Public in requesting documentation from administration. We are not above the rest of the folks until we are together as a board and make a decision as a board. So I think that's the crux of this. PSBA says this. It is the law. It is the, and I'm not going to use the word law, but it is the way we should be operating in order to get the proper documentation that we're looking for so that everyone's on the same page. We need to do things strategically, not scattershot, not one person asking for this and another person asking for that. We need to be looking at our district strategically and looking at the documentation and the information we need to govern the district strategically. And it requires us to work through each other, through committees, to get the level of information that we need. That's my feeling on that. Now, I'm just going to stop there.
I'll raise my hand. So I agree with you, Rich, but I'm a little concerned of this motion, this recommendation for the motion. The board can request documents as long as it's the majority of the board that I understand is requesting those documents. So I don't want to be, personally, I don't want to be restricted to waiting for a board meeting to request them or an executive session. And I believe through you as the president, as long as you have the majority of the board requesting whatever documents they may be or information, that you have the right then to request it on our behalf and supply that information. That's the way I understand it. And I understand why this is put on the agenda. Believe me, I do. But I'm not quite sure I like the wording or the way it's presented.
We have the
That's just my
opportunity to
opinion.
change it. It's not,
Yeah.
this is not set in stone. So I don't want to, I
So,
mean, if we
That's
want to.
just where, but I agree with you. I understand why it's there. I understand why you feel you need to take some action as a board president based upon what you have seen transpire. But yeah,
Maybe we
so
can.
I
put
should be
all
totally
requests-
for it. But huh?
Maybe we should put all requests shall be made through the president of the board.
And I think he uses the word as an internal board process. If we just create that as our process, that would be our internal board process. And I do agree with you, Rich. I think that, it's something we need to address.
Okay, so if I got an email from 5 people saying they wanted to add this and direct the board, the administration to do that now, that would be an acceptable solution? I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
no problem with
but
that.
now, I mean, understanding that they're not going to drop everything they're doing. I respect their time.
Sure.
Of course. That's one thing that's kind of being laxed here too.
Then, may I?
Sure, Wayne.
Then wouldn't it be prudent to postpone this and take it before the policy committee for review, since we are talking about policy 002 regarding authority and powers?
No, this is not policy. This is not policy. This is board.
Well, it says right here, it's under 002 in the agenda.
But it's still board procedure. It's not policy. This isn't, we're not talking about 002 here. We're talking about how we behave as board members.
So then with the respect to public records, there was in the past with this school board, the board president, if you happen to be a minority voice, such as an Audrey Hawker Bailey and a Ron Bradley, they were denied documents that they were entitled to. Is that a direction we need to go into?
As a minority, so
as a minority voice.
So as a minority voice, you will not be entitled to documents that you are not entitled to as an individual. You are welcome to file a request for information, FOIA, whatever you want to call it. But if you haven't, as an individual or a team of 3 still are not getting the 5 votes that you need to file paperwork through the district. That's your right.
Are you saying filing a right to know request?
Correct.
For information that we are entitled to now? That's an interesting statement.
No, it's not. It's the way it's going to work. If this passes, if we adjust it and make those.
Rich, I want to chime in. I want to thank you for your leadership in terms of creating processes, protocols, and procedures that will streamline requests to be more strategic, focused, and help us get the work done that needs to be done. As a leadership development expert, organizational development expert, I'm excited about that direction for our board.
So then it would be prudent for the board, when we work on our new goals for the upcoming school year, that we would adopt the school calendar in school law. And it would be prudent to receive copies of all of the mandated reports. Would that be fair?
Let's say it this way. If you would like to provide us, as I've already requested of you, a list of all of those things, we as a board can make a decision about which information we think is prudent to have. I'm not saying that whole list is necessarily necessary. I'm saying that we may want to make a decision strategically about what information we receive so that we can best make the right policy for the board, for the district. Okay. And I've already requested that information from you.
I just see it as being efficient. So I would never want to just call somebody and request a bunch of information while they're working without the rest of the board knowing that I was doing that. I mean, we talk about transparency. And I wouldn't demand it from anybody unless the majority of the board agrees that that is important information for what we're trying to, for our goals and what we're trying to achieve. I mean, I don't know.
Well, then I'll wait for the day that we get together for our setting our goals so that I can share with you the school calendar, because it states that those are pertinent dates
They
for
are pertinent dates.
for
They're
board members.
for the district to do reporting to the state.
What
Absolutely.
are we talking about? I'm sorry, important dates. What are we talking about?
I don't know. He has these dates.
Please clarify calendar and date, because I have no idea what's going on right now.
There, when you go to the national and state conferences, they talk about, as a school district, and a superintendent and a school district will actually give a class, and they talk about the first thing they do as a board is align themselves with the school calendar, which has a tremendous amount of state reporting mandates. So the reports that were being asked for have already exist, and it's not time consuming to forward those reports that do exist were required to submit to the board members for information. They're public record. Such as the quarterly report, which is a reconciliation of cash on hand.
Which you get every single month. Why would you need something that you get monthly?
No, that's a different report. You
No, it's the
don't
same
understand.
numbers.
That's a different report.
It's a
not
different-
the same.
It's
not the
using-
same.
It's using the same numbers. Why would you?
No, it's the money. It's the money we get from the federal government.
Yeah, and it's in the numbers. You can do the math. I mean, that's in there.
So then you'll show me that line item.
Sure.
Well, I think that's the
But that's
issue
not the
right here.
point.
That's the issue right here, is that we should be better communicating and working together because we are a board, and therefore we need to understand how to support one another and accessing, interpreting, et cetera, the information so that we are being good stewards of the representation that our community has placed in our hands as they voted for us. And as Lisa said, it's organizational efficiency. So those are the questions we should be asking one another and talking about when we're together.
I agree with you, DeMary, and I agree with Lisa in that the transparency we need, but I still think an individual, if they need something, should be able to get it. And this policy, without going through the 5 members of the board, where this policy says you can't get it at that point. If 5 of us say, no, you can't have it, no matter what it is, you can't have it. And I think
What
that's.
would we,
not
my
what I'm
question
saying.
is, what do you need as an individual that's gonna, it's gotta be a reason to benefit the whole, not just
I know, I
benefit you,
didn't-
and that's
yeah,
the
it's
reason.
benefits all, but maybe an individual needs some information and wants it now and doesn't want to wait for the board to get the information from the board. He just wants some information. We're now saying he has to go get the 5 votes of the board. I think you talk about wasting time.
Well, no,
That's wasting
because
that's wasting
because
our
requests
time, and we have our jobs to do too. Where the other people, yes, they're the board. I mean, they're the administration, but they're part of their job is to support the board.
Right.
That's my
Well,
opinion.
well, George, to that, we can, as a committee, request documentation, but just documentation, we can request that. Okay, that's not necessarily the majority, that's the committee. However, just random things that you think of on a daily basis is kind of what we're getting at here, of just kind of demanding documents of someone, just because that's what you're thinking of that day.
Actually,
And
as a committee,
I'm guilty of that too, in the sense that I want information when I think about it so that I don't forget that I need it. But I'm not going to demand it from somebody.
actually, as a committee, we could be turned down also because there's only 3 or 4 people on the committee. So if the other 5 people don't want us to get it, we can't get it. You're putting restrictions on that I don't think are justified on this by okaying this
We may be
policy.
the only
I know
district
why
that does this.
people want it.
I get what you're saying.
I'm arguing the point that I don't think it's a fair policy.
I think we should edit it a little bit because, Rich, you did say originally that if a board, if a committee
Okay.
needs
Have a
certain
committee chair needs to request.
documentation or request certain information, such as, just for example, the fire sprinkler request that I put out for, which now you have all the documentation, everybody has it, but I requested that after the properties and facilities meeting because that was something that we kind of all agreed we wanted, I guess. So I requested it. And I don't even know who sent the 45 bill, sent that. Yeah. Earlier today, the three.
But Larry's been working on the fire suppression for a long time. He should have been able, he actually should have gotten those bills without having to ask you, and you shouldn't even have to ask. Larry should have been given those by Eric Forsythe when everybody knows, everybody on the committee, and even Eric Forsythe and Dr. Riker all know that Larry's been the communications between Lyman and Ash. So why he wasn't giving them beforehand, and you say you got them today? Larry should have had them weeks ago.
Larry and I talked about this, and one of the things I'd like to see from Lyman and Ash is a document saying they're requesting these documents. We sit there and we say we think we need this, we think we need that, but let's make it firm. So here's what I'm recommending, or maybe I like the idea of changing the scope of this, and we can say that a committee can request information. This is our policy. It's not, it's ours.
You just said the word policy.
I'm sorry, process.
Where will I find the written list of process for board members? You're going to find them in policy.
We will have to. That's part of what has to be done with the board book. When we have this whole COVID thing behind us, we will have a book that we will use to not only identify our processes and how we communicate with each other and the district, but also the policy and all the other things that go into this.
And actually,
but you will find this language in board policy. You're asking us to add this language to board policy.
I am not asking you to add. This is not board policy. I'm not asking you to add this. This is board internal processes.
I mean, it is the way a board operates, quite frankly. A majority of the board requesting documents. I'm okay if it says something like that. And also if a committee as a whole, like from the committee chair, agrees to request this information because we need it for whatever, because some of the committees are only 4 people, 3 people.
So then you're saying right now that there is an existing board procedure that I'm not aware of?
No, there is no process. We have no board processes.
But we need to
yes, we do. That's what the policy's called.
No.
Rich, you do have a process. It's
nothing.
Any board member calls up any administrator and asks them for stuff, and then the administrator gets it to them when they can. That's your process right now.
Which occurs across the state of Pennsylvania.
It may.
That doesn't make it right. And really, we need to establish something that makes this work, because we cannot continue to have turnover with new people being elected and coming into the same mess. Because I wanted to come in here and work, and I have been trying to figure out how to get work done while sorting through the mess. And if we don't do this, the cycle will continue. We have a responsibility to the people we represent to put in place procedures and processes that help us get work done to move the needle forward, so we don't continue reinventing the wheel with a mess.
And every year we should be establishing new goals on what we want, not just goals of the superintendent, but we as a board need to establish goals. And I think that's what Rich is trying to get at, is we don't have goals. So we can't effectively set goals for anybody else because we don't know where we want to go.
Right.
And that's one of my biggest problems of what I see with the board is we are so inefficient and ineffective because we don't know what our goals are. We know what, my goals are. I know what my goals are. Lisa may know what her goals are, but I might not know. And unless we communicate more effectively.
Well, we have to agree upon a board of 5. 5 has to agree.
Exactly, but we need to set goals in a meeting, not just set goals for the superintendent for next year, but us as a board, where do we want to go?
Correct.
Because I can't work day to day. I'm not that kind of person. I need to see the plan from point A to B to C to D and where we're going to go. And we just don't do that. And it just makes me very angry.
Well, then I'm going to recommend that we adopt the school calendar moving forward because that is critical.
Okay. You
So
send us the calendar, we can discuss it. Okay.
I have one thing, I'm sorry.
Right.
So in policy this evening was request from Wayne for, the various policies. Actually, it says that on the top. This was a request from Wayne Roner. So policy 002, page 2, if anybody has it in front of them. The powers of the board of directors are not vested in individual board members. No such individual shall authorize to act on behalf of the board to carry out any board, blah, 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 blah.
Correct.
So here it states that.
Yeah, but
means-
I'm only asking
So-
for public records.
Correct.
So
and
when you're
that's-
requesting a
There's a
document,
difference.
you're not,
Through the public record.
Rich, can I speak?
Right to know.
Please, Tom.
Just because Wayne did make a couple comments there. And the key word he mentioned about one report he did not receive, and I do apologize if the things I provide to people are not acceptable. But when you're given limited information, I only provide what I can. And he just used the word federal on the last document of the quarterlies, which is correct, and that's what I had prepared to send tomorrow, was all the title quarterlies. But I'm trying my best to provide what the district, what the board's looking for, what the district's looking for, and then to say that things I'm providing is unacceptable and that I'm not being transparent, that really upsets me and bothers me.
It upsets me when I can't receive reports that are mandated by the state, and all you have to do is it takes less than a minute to forward a report that's already been generated.
Wayne, on your questions,
Larry would like to say something.
Hold on.
but Wayne, on your questions though, I had people that have 30 years experience, other business managers trying to find the report you're requesting. By not providing enough
I
information.
Googled the
everybody's-
reports, the public utility report we use for the budget every year.
This
All
is
right.
the problem because
This
everybody
is-
wasn't part of those discussions. Therefore, if we were in agreement and we all were on the same page, we wouldn't be having this back and forth. We would all understand what was needed and why was it needed. And where do
And-
we go from here, Rich? Because we can talk about this all night.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So I hear a motion to adjust this process to allow committees to ask for information outside without going through the full board, and to adjust the process by allowing 5 people to, I can be one of the 5. 4 people approach me and say, hey, we need this documentation from the district. And
majority.
I agree. Great. No problem. I'll send off the email. If you got 5 people to send me something, even if I disagree, I'm still going to send that email. I'm still going to request the information just the same as if it was my own, because that's the right thing to do.
I would say majority.
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 Debbie has her hand up.
So then can I request then tonight from the board, the list of board procedures that I'm not aware of?
As soon as we establish this one, we can put it in writing and it'll be the first one in our board book.
It's the first one.
Right.
That's how we establish things. That's how you get a foundation.
So
All right, hold on.
what role does that take with board policy? I need to
We're gonna be
understand
here
that.
all night if we keep this up, guys.
Policy is not the same as process.
But it is in board policy.
So
Okay,
It
I'm
is
sorry.
in 202.
I see 2 hands, and I want to recognize Debbie, and then I want to recognize Larry, and then Sharon's out there.
Okay.
My question was, as long as you get that 5 requests, as long as there's an email to let us know that that request has been submitted, I think that covers everything.
Okay,
That was my request to be part of the process. Thank you.
thank you. All right, thank you, Larry.
All right. Yeah, I have no problem that we come up with a system. I'll tell you what, I've already gotten like 6 or 8 text messages here from the public that is not in favor of this. They're saying that, we need to have access to the files and whatever. Yeah, I know we need to have control, but I will not tolerate, because in our past years, and unfortunately there's not a whole lot of people here that was around 30 years ago, but the injustice that was done that got us into where we are today of, 5 people voting and the other 4 board members never having a say, even though they had good ideas and they had great intentions to improve the quality of education and move forward. That's not right. We can't run a school like that. I mean, yes, we gotta be, I don't know.
But that's the past, Larry.
Well, but we're going
We're
back.
not learning from the past,
Yeah,
Lisa.
we're not learning from
So
the past.
I think we're all wanting, quality education. We want the right thing for our
Right.
students.
And we want our educators to focus on that quite a bit. And
But
we
you
need
know,
to-
if you're gonna make requesting simple information, a 5-4 vote, that's discrimination. And then
Sure
as
is.
Dean said, the latest.
It's a dangerous road.
Sharon had her
So-
hand up, but I want to say that's a
Yes.
democratic system that our country actually runs on, which is a majority vote. But I'm sorry, Sharon, that I cut into your time.
Sharon.
Really quickly, I just wanted to reference, there were a couple of things. I know Keith Carcutt mentioned policy number 002, that it had something to do with an individual asking or requesting for documents. And I just wanted to say, 003, that's not what the policy is about. And the one thing that we discussed in the board, in the policy meeting, was the board reserves the right to alter or rescind any such regulation. When you think about regulation, what we are doing is we are creating policy. If you look at policy number 000, it says, it clearly talks about the majority of the board members. So based on the majority, now we're in the process where we know this is an opportunity. Let's create a policy that addresses the majority of our board as we move forward, so we'll never be in this predicament again. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Okay. I just want to read one piece that we got from Responsibilities of School Board Members from PSBA. Demanding information or meeting with teachers or school administrators can be an example. It is important that the school board, as a body, establish protocols and procedures that provide a way for board members to get information from and about the administration and staff, but it is not something that an individual member or 3 or 4 has the legal authority to demand acting on their own. That's why we're creating this little protocol, this little process to say, you got to come through the board. It has to be a vote of 5 or come through the committee. That's what we're saying. That way we address that issue and the issues that we're having. Any other comments?
I have
Yeah,
to just say
I
one
just
more
look-
thing.
go ahead.
This is Sharon, I apologize. But that's the point of coming together as a board. Now, individuals can put in a right to know and request anything they want. And it might take a while to get it to them, but it's in writing and it will eventually get to them. We can't think of ourselves as individuals anymore. We are the board representing the constituents and trying to make the best decisions based on taking an oath to act as a board, not as an individual. And that doesn't mean that we all don't have things that we're passionate about, that we're thinking differently about, but we have to stop, because we just can't continue, especially in front of our constituents, to look like what we're looking like right now. And we will create some processes so that we won't be in this predicament again. And I don't have anything else to say.
Rich,
Wayne?
can we vote on the amended?
Yeah, just Wayne Wayne had something to say, and I'm going to let him.
No, I'm okay. I just want to make sure that it is a fair and objective process.
Okay.
I just think it's odd that I got to use the right to know for information that is public record. That's all.
Right. Okay.
I don't want to dwell on this or force you to dwell on it longer, but we need to be clear about what the amendment is, because I'm not
Yes.
sure.
Okay.
Or we can postpone it.
We should.
All right.
This is a rush decision.
I think amend the
settled.
language.
All
I've
right.
heard a lot of comments. I think amend the language.
Right. I've heard a motion that as an internal board process and as direction to the administration, all requests for documentation and information by the board or its members to district administrators shall be made, one, as a committee request,
Either, yeah.
let's go either a committee request or an majority
The majority of the board.
majority of the board as is directed in an email or board action
And you
in
have to
public
make,
meeting, in a public meeting.
Would just say we're.
Now, wait a minute. I just
No,
want to make
I
sure I understand what you're saying.
No, I
Okay.
don't think we should have to vote on it.
Yeah,
A majority of the board as expressed to the president.
the majority of the board is expressed to the president. I like that.
How about we just adopt the wording that's in the policy? It says board policies, what we're looking to create shall be adopted, amended, or repealed by a majority vote of the board.
Yeah, but that's.
But that's not about requests for information.
Yeah, so if a committee is a committee of 4 and the majority of that committee is requesting public record, does that mean the next level is the majority of the board, which it could be shot down?
No, I would say, see, I agree with you that if the committee says, hey, we need these documents,
full committee,
that committee should have the right to request that. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
That's a lot, I mean, that's a lot different than what's written here
That's
because
a
you're
lot
taking,
Yeah.
you're taking it away from board action.
But you're also, it's a committee action.
Yeah, it's a request from.
We're taking it away.
It's a request of documents. It's not a motion to approve.
Oh, is it?
That's right.
You're certainly within your power to do that. I just want to make sure you understand it.
Right.
Is
I
it
guess what I'm
committee or
saying is,
full board?
if the committee is doing the work, they feel strongly they should have documents, is that responsible?
The committee feels they should have documents to respond.
I would think it would be.
as long as the full committee agrees.
Right.
The majority of the committee has to agree. Why the?
Yes. That's the way it's always worked.
If you have a 3-1, that's a majority of the committee. It shouldn't be have to be the full committee.
Okay, so
Committee is fine, but
this whole thing here is because people demand it in a minute.
Hold on.
That's not true. That's not true.
Get into the debating again. Can we
Right.
work on the language?
Okay. Yes,
That's
please.
not true.
All right, so
Don't ever say that.
yes, Larry.
Just, and I'm pretty much calm over this thing, but just as an example, I think it's been 2 years ago Christmas when we had the first leak down at the at ESC in the fire system. Okay. And, I asked so that we could have documents and whatever to get started with Lyman and Ash. I think everybody that's currently on the board made that, voted that to get Lyman and Ash to work on that. Okay. And I know Dr. Riker turned over some documents that he got. He handed them and they got to Dewey Engineering, of which the only drawing in this whole big bundle was it showed like where the water come in and where the main shutoff valve was and where one of the pumps at.
Okay.
So, we're 2 years into this on probably a multi-million-dollar problem. Okay. And Lisa now has just finally gotten, hopefully, some of the documents that we need to pursue this.
Right. And here's my
Not-
point. to
They
that.
requested it.
System.
It was how I requested it.
Here's the thing. If it's written and if it's coming from a committee or it's coming from the board, it has weight. If it's just one of us or two of us saying to the board, hey, we're to the administration, we would like these documents, it really doesn't have weight. We can measure the response of our board, of our administration, by the fact that we're creating, by the fact that we've created a chain of documentation saying we need this information.
Okay, Rich, I took a stab at the language. Can we try?
All right, please.
So motion that as an internal board process and as direction to the administration, all requests for additional documentation and information by the board or its members to district administrators shall be made as the result of majority board request to board president or through request of a committee based on the majority of the committee.
Okay.
I would second that.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I understand the word or, the majority of a committee. I'm okay with that.
Okay, I like that.
How is the committee's will expressed? Is that the same as the president? So the committee
The committee chair
committee
should do
talks to
it.
their chairperson and the chairperson relays
The
it to the board?
chairperson should request.
Yes.
Yes.
And I heard somebody say if you had 3-1 on a committee, that would be okay. So it doesn't have to be everybody. That's what I heard somebody say, and I agree with that.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's a perfectly valid internal process. I just want you to be aware how different that is than what we originally had written, because what we originally had written was, this is board action, meaning this is
At a
from the
public
government of the school. Whereas a committee, that's not board action. That's 3 individuals. Now, like I said, you can do that, but it is a very different thing.
It is.
I think long as it benefits the committee and it's not just requesting it to request it, it's got to benefit a decision that the committee has to make.
Yes, that would be, that's a
Just
good.
go back to the
interpretation.
majority of the board requesting a document and, you know, us in a committee, if that's how, you know, how we proceed.
No, I don't think the committee, not the majority of the board.
No, I think the committee is the right
There's two
place for
different
that.
things here.
Yes.
There's,
There is.
The committee,
so if I'm requesting items for properties and facilities as a board chair and as you guys would like, I'm requesting for the committee. So that's kind of a majority right there. It's not making any decisions any further. I'm just requesting those documents. But if it's a random document that doesn't pertain to any said committee, then it should be the majority of the board requesting that document.
Right, because through a committee, it's based on the work that the committee is doing to make recommendations to the.
But if
entire board.
it's,
Yes.
I
if
did
it's,
add to the
I
end,
don't know,
I'm sorry,
something
Lisa, I added
randomly
to the
weird.
end. I added to the end as submitted by committee chair. I could read the whole thing again if we want, but I added that part to the end because I heard that.
Can we please move on? We have, you know, the racetrack gentleman on here trying to do his
Sorry.
presentation for us, and we're going to be here on all night for him discussing this. And it's not fair to our public or to, you know, Ricky, who's been sitting on here waiting for his point to speak about what he's doing at the racetrack so we can make a proper vote on that.
So let me read it again so we're all on the same page and we know what we're talking about.
Thank you.
Motion that as an internal board process and as direction to the administration, all requests for additional documentation and information by the board or its members to district administrators shall be made as the result of majority board request to board president or through request of a committee based on majority of the committee as submitted by committee chair.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have.
Let's try and simplify it to Mary and Rebecca as the movant and seconder of the motion. Are you okay with that amendment?
That was me? Yeah.
To Mary and Rebecca, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Lisa.
Okay.
Oh, Lisa, it was Lisa.
Oh, it was Lisa? That's not what I wrote.
No?
Oh, sorry.
Patricia. I'm sorry, Patricia, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Patricia. Okay.
I had Damari and Bunny and Rebecca.
Oh, so Chris was right. Okay, so I'm okay with that.
But I didn't say anything. It wasn't me. That's okay.
Too late.
Okay.
All right, it's ready for a vote.
All right. All in favor?
You gonna do roll call?
Yes, roll call vote.
Patricia, you're on mute.
Okay, here I am. Damari Bonilla,
Yes.
Rebecca Bear,
Yes.
George Andrews,
Yes.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
Sharon Glasgow,
Yes.
Debbie Kulik,
Yes.
Wayne Roner,
Yes.
Rich Lamus,
Yes.
Lisa Van Wy.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Listen, and to the folks out there in the public and not, you know, participating on a board here, this is an important part of our job as board members, is setting processes and how we govern ourselves. It's messy. It's not like we just, everything's peaches and creams out here. We got a lot of, we have to weigh a lot of information, and we also have to argue and bicker a little bit. And that's an okay thing, but just understand that, this is part of the process of being a board. And so we thank you for indulging us here. All right, moving on. Motion to adopt board policy listed 918.1.
So moved, Rebecca.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Second, Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon. Okay, and if there's no objection, we will adopt this motion. All right. Motion to approve the agreement presented with Christopher S. Brown serving as district solicitor for the 2020-2021 school year with a retainer of $42,000 and an hourly rate of $150 for non-retainer work.
So moved. Lisa.
Thank you. Lisa motioned.
Debbie.
Debbie.
Debbie second. Okay. All right, discussion.
Yeah, I'd like to almost make a recommendation to do an RFP.
Okay. It would take some time to do that. Actually, Patricia has created a calendar on Google Sites. On Google, on Google, this calendar is a shared calendar, and I put in for February of 2021 to put an RFP on the street for solicitor. We should be doing this every 2 to 3 years anyway. And I know that this is a re-up from the last one. I don't know if we have time right now to get this done before July 1st. I mean, we have a lot of other work to do right now.
I understand, and there again, I can see the importance of having a calendar that we follow, so.
All right, any other discussion? All right, I'd like to voice vote for this motion because I'm closing discussion, so roll call vote.
Lisa Van Wy,
Yes.
Debbie Kulik,
Yes.
George Andrews,
Yes.
yes. Rebecca Bear,
Yeah.
Mary Bonilla,
Yes.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
Sharon Glasgow,
Yes.
Wayne Roner,
Yes.
Rich Schlamus,
Yes.
9-0.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Could we back up just a notch to the Title I school parent family engagement?
Sure thing.
Is there any cost and is there any money allocated to that program?
Title I monies.
We went through that. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Sharon.
We went through that in detail in our previous executive session and board meeting. And that's where 2 of the administrators came on and spoke about IEPs and but I don't recall if it was money or dollars tied to it, more so the how can we get better at getting more parents out at events or special programs or training, just engaging them. I don't know if it was a dollar tied to it per the policy, so I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, the program looks great. I agree with the program totally, but I was wondering if, if money was allocated for it, or if we're going to use, funding we already have through Access or something, or
Larry, I think we get about $1.9 million from federal funds for Title I. And part of that requirement is the family engagement piece. And I believe a certain percentage of that money has to be allocated from Title I federal funds to pay for that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Perfect.
Excellent. All right, so that clears that up. Moving on to programs, interscholarship athletics. Motion to approve the student athletic handbook for the 2020-2021 school year as presented.
So
So
moved.
moved, Rebecca.
All right, so I got a motion from Wayne and Rebecca as a second. Is that okay?
Either or.
Either or. All right. All right, discussion? Anything in there that we need to talk about? All right, hearing none, motion, I will use this, if there is no objection, we'll adopt this motion. All right. Motion to approve the agreements as presented at this meeting between East Stroudsburg Area School District and Pocono Hills Golf Course at the Villas for the 2021 golf season.
Motion, Lisa.
Lisa, I heard for motion,
First
and
or
then
second, whichever.
who is the second?
Debbie.
Debbie. All right, great. Debbie, thank you. All right, discussion. All right. Seeing none, if there's no objection, we'll adopt this motion. Motion to approve the agreement as presented between East Stroudsburg Area School District and Stroud Township for the use of Yetter Park for the cross-country team.
Rebecca, so motion.
Thank you.
Second, Lisa.
I heard Lisa as a second. Discussion. All right, if there's no objection, we will adopt this motion for the Stroud Township use of Yetter Park, or for our use of Yetter Park. Okay. Excellent. Moving on, I believe, to graduation requirements. Motion to approve the issuance of a high school certificate diploma to each candidate listed, subject to their individual successful completion of the prescribed courses of instruction and graduation requirements established by this board as part of the school district's comprehensive plan. I just want to make a note in here that we need to add a high school North student, Erin Lynn Byrne, to that list. I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
Wayne?
Second, Lisa.
Lisa? Okay. Discussion. All right. If there is no,
Sounds like Angela's daughter.
if there's no objection, we will adopt the motion to approve these candidates for graduation. All right. Motion to approve the employment actions listed in accordance with associated applicable policies, procedures, and contractual agreements.
Discussion on this.
Yes.
Wait, you got the first and second.
Yes. Motion, and so you need a motion and a second. Thank you.
Sorry.
It's all right. So do you want to make a motion?
Sure, motion, Rebecca.
Rebecca, awesome. Second.
I'll second it.
George.
Lisa again. All right. Rebecca?
My discussion was what I read on the public participation. If you look at section D, where the support staff, the ones that work for Paul Schmid, they were asking for the full month of June to continue to get paid their normal pay for doing that. And I don't know how we want to handle that.
We can't discuss that here.
Yeah.
I know, so I don't know if we want to table that, D, after we discuss it, or how you want to work that to discuss that.
I would recommend we keep it. And if we make a change in how we do that policy, we can do that at the next board meeting. Anything would be retroactive if that was our decision.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I noted that I'm mentioning that based on public participation.
But thank you for bringing that forward. Any other discussion? Is there anyone who needs to make any kind of abstention based on the personnel listed?
Did I miss
Yeah, for the next motion.
For the next motion, okay. So we have a motion and a second for this, for the employment actions. Take a roll call vote on this one.
Rebecca Bear,
Yes.
Lisa Van Wy,
Yes.
George Andrews,
Yes.
Tamari Bonilla,
Yes.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
Sharon Glasgow,
Yes.
Debbie Kulik, Wayne Roner,
Yes.
Rich Lamus.
Yes.
And Rich, for the record, Sue Van Wy is not related to me.
I wasn't gonna ask about that. Okay, thank you. All right, I am hopping down the list here, going to the motion to approve the following Schedule B appointments. If only the program occurs. Is that clear? So only if the program occurs will
If we
we,
don't have sports, doesn't happen.
correct. That's right. So there's no appointment hereby made if, in the event that the respective programs are canceled. So we need a motion.
So moved, Mary.
Thank you.
Second. Lisa.
Lisa,
Sorry.
okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second discussion.
Yes, I need to abstain from number 20,
Okay,
page 8.
got it. Any other discussion? So there was a motion and a second. Let's do a roll call vote to capture the abstention.
Tamara Bonilla,
Yes.
Lisa Van Wy,
Yes.
George Andrews,
Yes.
Rebecca Bear,
Yes.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
Sharon Glasgow,
Yes.
Debbie Kulik, Wayne Roner,
Yes, abstaining from number 20.
Rich Lamus,
Yes,
9-0.
thank you. I'm going to, I'm taking a gander down this here, and you know, I don't want to keep folks who don't need to be here on the call with us. Maybe there is no motion for.
It's part of the,
Well, that's why I asked for it before.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
part of the contracted services on page 13.
Page 13.
Page 13. Thank you very much. And of course, I don't actually have a page 13 because I have the large print edition, which is like,
It's on the screen now, I think.
okay,
Yeah,
thank
it's
you.
on the screen, Rich.
I see it. All right. Is there any objection to us moving to to the contracted services? Do I have any objection to that? Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the contracts listed for their specific services, rates, effective dates as listed below. Need a motion?
So moved.
I heard
I'll
Wayne.
Damari second.
Thank you. All right.
And can we hear from Pocono Raceway?
Yes, that's really what I was doing this for. So,
Yeah, I have a question on the Pocono Raceway.
right. Well, let's have Ricky have a conversation here, and I don't have the privilege of unmuting him. So there you go.
I was able to unmute myself.
Good. Ricky, give us a presentation here.
Sure. Thank you for the time again tonight, and we greatly appreciate the opportunity. In full disclosure, our concept of graduations was brought to us by one of your colleagues in the school district community. North Pocono School District came to us in early April, looking for our interest in hosting an alternative graduation. That conversation kind of led us to create a formula and a plan that we think we can execute that observes social distancing and all the CDC guidelines that we need to observe, but it also gives us a great opportunity to give the students that shared capstone experience that I think everyone's looking to celebrate their time together, either at the North or South School. In short, we want to try and utilize every asset that we can at the raceway, the track itself, our video boards, potentially at Victory Lane, and really probably the biggest focal point will probably be the start-finish line. And in our eyes, that would kind of be the equivalent of walking across the stage and getting the diploma. It would be a procession in cars by the graduates coming down the front stretch, crossing the start-finish line, and entering a new lap of their life, being led by our pace car. We have had a site visit by some of the administration, which I think went very well. I think we have a pretty solid plan formulated. Of course, there'll be some tweaking along the way, but really we're looking for about a 4-hour window of time that the raceway would be able to be utilized per graduation. And it would be a collaborative effort to execute the program that we think we can safely execute, but also trying to observe as many traditions and meaningful aspects of the various graduations and keep them unique. And really, as I go back to, just have a great day for the graduates and give them that celebration and that shared experience that they can leave and feel a sense of accomplishment and camaraderie. And certainly, you know, Dr. Riker, I think he's on the call as well. And, you know, I'll defer to him any other comments that he would like to make, and certainly field any questions that I can.
Yeah, I got a question. This is George Andrews. What's the possibility of doing both schools at the same time? Since we're one school district, shouldn't we be doing it as north and south together instead of separating, which we have, you know, which causes other problems?
We've never put them together, George.
I understand that. Maybe we should be doing things together.
Well, what's the time frame for north and south?
They're both the same date right now, tentatively the 13th of June.
Right.
One would be in the afternoon, I guess. One would be in the evening or something like that, morning or evening. I'm not sure.
Probably late morning and mid-afternoon.
There you go.
Well, so what about doing them both together? That's all I'm asking. What would be
The time for it was a lot, but I don't know. That's what somebody discussed the other day. It's not my.
The raceway.
I know it would take a little bit longer, but we're a single school district. That's all I'm saying.
Capacity issues.
George, just to speak to that, I did speak with Mr. Catrillo and Mr. Brenneman about that idea. The raceway obviously isn't going to answer that question because it's really our decision as a district. They can accommodate the 550 plus graduates that would entail if we combine both the schools.
What do you mean you can't accommodate them?
I said they can.
Oh, they can. Okay, thank you.
And so that's really not their decision. And speaking to the principals, they did not feel that the students would necessarily be in agreement with having a combined graduation. Now that said, the raceway is able to actually house any family members that would want to come to both graduations, since they would be on the same day, and run that as two separate ceremonies so that actually everyone would be there should they choose to be there for both ceremonies, graduation ceremonies, but they would still be able to run it as a South graduation and a North graduation.
But there'd be a fairly large, there'd be a lag time between them, is what you're saying.
Lunch break.
Yeah.
I would need lunch.
Yeah, I would anticipate there would be a time period between them. Obviously, when you're looking at 350 plus at South and another 250 at North.
Well,
yeah.
My only issue is we're one school district, and you know, we're always talking about North and South. It'd be nice if we just had it as a school district versus a North versus South. That's my opinion. However we want to do it, I'm not going to argue with it. I'm just saying that's my personal opinion. Is if we're trying to build a unity within the school district, that would be a nice way to do it. But I'm not going to argue.
I just have one question, Dr. Riker. Have we thought about families that don't have vehicles and what we're going to do for them to get their kids across the finish line? Do we have volunteers in place that can drive them across the finish line and also transport them from the North District all the way to the raceway? Because for being a North parent, that's very far. And I know there are some kids that don't have reliable transportation that can get from point A to point D. I did volunteer to drive whoever needed to in my Toyota Sequoia, but I just want to make sure, and I will drive the finish line as many times as I have to get them across, but I just want to make sure that we have a plan in place to let those children know who can't get across the finish line in a vehicle.
So two things that I could say to that we're talking about. We don't have anything definitive yet, but One is we're looking at reaching out to car clubs, like classic car clubs that might be in the area that we tend to think that they may be interested in driving their car around the racetrack. So
That sounds awesome.
yeah, so they may be, so I don't have anyone that's committed. We're just talking about that. The other piece is we have already had employees make the same offer that you just made, and that is to assist our students with getting them to graduation and even driving them as part of the graduation ceremony. So we are looking at that, and we are going to look at, we could also reach out to some of our car dealers in the area and see if they would be willing to donate, that service to the district. So we have been talking about that. I just don't have any concrete answers to that at this point.
Well, keep me posted. Anything I can do to help, let me know. And I'm very good friends with Mr. Ertl, so if you want me to reach out to him, I can as well.
Go ahead, reach out. We're okay with that.
Place my trainer. I would volunteer as well, just for the record.
Because I plan on attending, so if I can, and I'll pick up whoever needs a ride up at North. I'll go meet at the North High School and pick everybody up and bring them down.
And we would volunteer too, but that's
Well, you can only fit so many in our car.
I think we all will.
Just remember, we're going to be there the whole day anyway. So
Exactly, that's why I said
Some
I'll
of-
drive them down.
and my point to that would be kind of going back to George's statement, is it's a really long day for both communities if we're doing it at the same time. Most of these kids know each other, they're cohorts because of their school building, not necessarily the district. And I'm saying that I kind of would recommend that we do it by building, because that's how they know each other best. I understand it makes it a good presentation as a district and creates that
For
unity.
Rustica, we're split.
We're split. I know. And it'd be great to see their old friends again. But I think it's going to make for a really long day if we have people just idling out in the, in the field there, waiting for their turn. That's 5 hours of just sitting there.
That was a racetrack pun there you used.
I tried.
I do want to just commend the Pocono Raceway for offering this opportunity. And more importantly, I would agree with Ricky. I think our meeting was very good. The Raceway is very receptive to any ideas that we have as a district to make this a great experience for our students. And the only piece I would add, and I know I shared this in my update last week, and someone spoke to it. I think one of our parents spoke to it earlier this evening. There is no other opportunity right now based on the governor's orders. As you all know, right now, the largest group gathering is 10. If we move to yellow, it's 25. That would be about 5 students if they have 2 family members attend. Now we're at 15. And when you get the administration there, we're at 25 very easily. And we haven't even talked about the 9 board members being there. So it's inclusive of the entire group as far as a large group gathering. So the actual number that we may be under, I don't know, arguably until the end of June, could be no more than 25 people in a large group gathering. So we would push this really into July or August potentially before we could do anything with even a larger group of students. So I just want to reiterate that. I think one of the parents spoke very well to that earlier, but that's an important factor as we make the decision. I get the emotional piece of being at the schools. We were all hoping that could happen. But if that would be the decision, that's the language we have to abide by. And the Raceway has already reached out to the state officials to get the approval to do it in the manner that they presented.
I want to recognize Debbie.
Going to be the Debbie Downer, okay? going to be the person who says
Oh, we just
have
lost you.
in place the ability to clear people to be able to drive folks, to make sure that they're masked, that we've taken their temperatures, that we've screened everybody, and that there's limited people in each car if we have people driving people, and know that we have the liability for it if something
Our
happens.
folks over at Pocono Raceway.
I'm talking about all the people who just said,
If
I'll
we
drive.
volunteer.
Right, if I drive, take my temperature, I'll wear a mask, whatever I need to do, exactly.
That's all I'm saying. And disinfect your car, make sure everything's done ahead of time, just so we're not liable. Okay.
Okay, good, thank you. All right. So, excellent. I'm sorry if I think my internet might be lagging here on me as everybody jumps on Fortnite right now. So let's, so we have a motion and a second. Do we need to give?
I have one question. Are there rules
Yes.
on what kind of vehicle that they can drive?
Ooh.
I can probably address that. You know, ours are standard highway rules, right? It needs to be a licensed vehicle, registered and driven by a licensed driver.
What if it's like a very loud diesel truck? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Stinky.
It's a licensed vehicle.
Just checking to make sure. What about a motorcycle, they're asking?
I believe we have said no to motorcycles, but we can cover all the different vehicle types at a separate time if that's okay.
Perfect, just because they're going to ask. I know our students.
Rebecca, if I could just add the one question that you may not have asked, they cannot sit in backs of pickup trucks either. Okay, so
Good to know, thank you.
Yeah, they must be
inside the vehicle.
Yeah, they must be restrained by a seatbelt.
Okay. So that outs motorcycles because there's no seatbelts.
Right.
Answers that question.
All right, so we have a motion and a second, but we also have another piece of this business, which is specifically for number 6 and number 7, do we want to keep them separate or do we bring them together? And so this is the time that we would make that decision. Right now, the motion is to keep them separate. There's 2 separate fees. There's 2 separate listings. We have a motion by Wayne and a second by Dr. Bonilla as this is the motion. Okay, so hearing none, we will move to a roll call vote. This is for all contracted services. If there's no other comments beyond the Pocono Raceway 1, this includes the athletic trainers, this includes High School South physician, this includes physicals and other agreements. Okay, so there's a motion and a second. Let's take a roll call vote.
Wayne Rauner,
Yes.
Damari Bonilla,
Yes.
George Andrews,
Yes.
Rebecca Bear,
Yes.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
Sharon Glasgow,
Yes.
Debbie Kulik,
Yes.
okay. Rich Flamus,
Yes.
Lisa Van Wy,
Yes.
9-0.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, now moving back to.
Mr. President,
yes.
may I interrupt for 1 second? I was
Please.
going to excuse myself now that topic of business is over. I'll let you guys get back to your regular agenda. I just want to say thank you for the time, and we look forward to a great celebration for North and South. Thank you.
I think it'll be a blast.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so moving back to memorandum of understanding vacation carryover. So we need a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between East Stroudsburg Area School District and Support Professional Association and the district with respect to Article 6-vacation and carryover unused 2019-2020 vacation days. Whew.
So
So
moved, Lisa. Oh, sorry.
Second, Damari. That's
All right, Lisa, Damari. Okay, motion and a second. Discussion. All right.
Were
if
we
there's-
extending the time of carryover this year or no? I don't remember what we discussed.
I think that's what we're doing, correct?
Yes, and they sent the memo that we were copied in.
I just want to make sure that's
You're
what this is for.
unavailable to use it because you can't literally go anywhere.
Mhm.
I just
Terrible
wanted to make sure
vacation.
that's what we were voting on.
Okay.
We're all set.
All right. If there is no objection, we will adopt this motion. Okay. Finances. Budget adoption. Motion to approve the proposed general fund budget for the 2021 fiscal year in the amount of $164,537,019, which will be posted and advertised in accordance with the provisions of Act 1, 2006, and that said budget, together with the taxes and proposed herein, shall, after proper additions and amendments, be adopted no later than June 30th, 2020.
So moved, Damari.
Thank you.
Rebecca, second.
Thank you, Rebecca. Discussion.
I just hope that we get some of that state money, and our pulling from the reserve isn't as much as we're anticipating, but
Me
that's
too.
just my 2 cents.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Good
All right,
night.
I'll take a roll call vote on this.
Thank Tom for the hard work that they all did.
Sure
Yes.
thing.
Thank you, everyone.
Mary Bonilla,
Yes.
Rebecca Bear,
Yes.
George Andrews,
Yes.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
Sharon Glasgow,
Yes.
Debbie Kulik,
Yes.
Wayne Roner,
Yes.
Rich Lamus,
Yes.
Lisa Van Wy,
Yes.
9-0.
Thank you. All right, tax levy. Motion to tentatively approve the tax rates listed below for the 2021 fiscal year. These rates represent a millage adjustment for Monroe County due to the county-wide reassessment and a 0.0 mil increase for Pike County in accordance with the recommendations of the Finance Committee. Be it resolved that a tax of 30.72 mils mills be proposed on real estate in Monroe County portion of East Stroudsburg Area School District for the 2021 fiscal year, and be it resolved that a tax of 123.66 mils be proposed on real estate in the Pike County portion of the East Stroudsburg Area School District for 2021 fiscal year, and be it resolved that the 1% earned income tax be proposed to remain in effect and be placed on all residents of the district for the 2021 fiscal year, of which 0.5 is shared with local municipalities, and be it resolved that the $10 occupational privilege tax proposed to remain in effect and be placed on all workers in the district for the 2021 fiscal year, and be it resolved that the 1% real estate transfer tax be proposed to remain in effect for the 2021 fiscal year, of which 0.5% or 0.5% is shared with the municipalities. I'll take a motion for that.
So moved, Debbie.
Thank you.
Second, please.
Oh,
Go ahead, Jamari, you got it.
I heard George. Go
I
ahead.
heard George, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, George can have it.
All right, so I have a motion and a second discussion. Hearing none, this is a roll call vote.
Debbie Kulik,
Debbie Kulik?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
George Andrews,
Yes.
Rebecca Bear,
Yes.
Mary Bonilla,
Yes.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
Sharon Glasgow,
Yes.
Wayne Roner,
Yes.
Rich Lamus,
Yes.
Lisa Van Wy,
Yes.
9-0.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we need a motion to accept the bid from Sharp, the lowest responsible bidder, for the supply of propane auto gas for the period of 3 years beginning July 1 through June 30th, 2023, in accordance with the recommendations of the Finance Committee.
So moved, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Second.
George? Thank you. Discussion.
Just, and it's a fixed rate too, so it's gonna be fixed per year. So we won't have any surprises with it going up mid-year or anything like that. Because Mr. McIntyre clarified for that for us.
Now, wait a minute. Question, wasn't that based on
Not a tank rate. It is not a tank rate. That is a per pound rate or whatever metric they use for the propane.
Okay, do we have a copy of the contract in the packet? We know what page it is?
123.
All right, give me 1 second.
Not a contract,
Contract, 123.
just a chart.
It's just a chart. It's not a contract.
We won't have the contract until after the board vote that we're going to go with them. But I did verify, Larry. I sent everyone an email last week when I contacted Sharp to verify that it was a fixed rate, and it is a fixed rate. So whether the market goes up or if it goes down, we're still paying that fixed amount for the next 3 years.
Okay.
And in addition, if the federal government continues the alternative fuel discount, we will get even a lower rate based off of that approval.
Okay, so I don't know. Here it says, let me see. 6756 for 2021, 70.92 for 21-22, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Typically, they write the contract based on, pickup point pipeline or Mount Bellevue, Texas.
And that's why I said I agreed with you, and that's why I had to double check, because our heating fuel, our heating oil, and even our old diesel was based that way. But when I spoke with the representatives, that it was based on a straight, a flat rate.
All right. Well, all right. The pricing's good. I guess it hedges the upside, but on the flip side, you're going to have to look at the contract, because they probably got verbiage in there that, let's say, if they're losing money on it, they might have a sentence in there that says that the contract's void. And that's going to leave us hanging out there. Because if the price, let's say the price goes up, instead of 73, it's up to $1.50 or $1.60, they can't take that big of a loss, and they're just not going to give us free gas, So we got to.
Correct. Chris and I will review the contract when we get it in our hands.
All right. So do we want to hold off on the vote until after it's reviewed?
We're not going to get a contract.
Will we not get a contract until we ask for it?
We vote on it.
We have to vote to approve them, and then they'll give us a contract afterwards.
Okay. So this isn't the final vote, right?
It is the final vote.
It is the final vote. And you can add the language on there, which I did not add, was after review by the district solicitor and chief financial officer, if you would like.
We're just subject to review.
But you guys haven't reviewed it yet, right?
Correct.
So I'm hearing Larry say that he wants to amend the motion to add the language upon review by solicitor and chief financial officer. Is that what I'm hearing, Larry?
Yeah, that would.
Would that help you?
That would make me feel a little better.
Okay. So Larry's made this motion. Do I have a second on Larry's motion?
Let's do it the easy way, Rich. Are Lisa and George okay with that amendment?
Sure, why not?
Yep.
There you go.
And I'm on
Okay.
finance too, so that's good too.
Okay. So we had a motion and a second, then we had some adjustments. The new language incorporates having the solicitor and the chief financial officer review the contract prior to execution. Roll call vote.
Lisa Van Wyk,
Yes.
George Andrews,
Yes.
Rebecca Bear,
Yes.
Mary Bonilla,
Yes.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
Sharon Glasgow,
Yes.
Debbie Kulik,
Yes.
Wayne Roner,
Yes.
Rich Schleiman.
Yes. All
9-0.
right. Thank you very much. All right, motion to accept the lowest responsible bid from Waste Management for a 5-year contract for municipal solid waste and recycling services for a period beginning July 1 through June 30th, 2025, in a total cost of $666,327.36 as recommended by the Finance Committee.
And subject to review and
And subject to
recommendations of the.
Review.
So moved. Lisa.
Okay. So moved by Lisa. Who's second? Larry. Thank you, Larry. All right. So we have a motion and a second. Discussion. All right. All in favor? I mean,
Aye.
I'm sorry. Let me backtrack on that. For the financial ones, it's important to do roll call vote. So let's take that.
Lisa Van Wyk,
Yes.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
George Andrews,
Yes.
Rebecca Bear,
Yes.
Tamara Bonilla,
Yes.
Sharon Glasgow,
Yes.
Debbie Kulik, Wayne Roner,
Yes.
It's a crazy idea. I thought, I'm going to just tune in my guidance. I'm just going to follow that guidance no matter what it tells me to.
Okay.
and Rich Lim.
Yes.
Okay, 9-0.
All right. 9-0. Thank you. Cooperative purchasing. Motion to approve the proposal from Fisher and Son for the amount of $21,422.10 for supplies for district fields.
Motion.
Larry?
Second, Lisa.
Lisa, thank you. Larry and Lisa. Discussion. Okay. Roll call vote.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
Lisa Van Wyk,
Yes.
George Andrews,
Yes.
Rebecca Bear,
Yes.
Tamara Bonilla,
Yes.
Sharon Glasgow,
Yes.
Debbie Kulik,
Yes.
Wayne Roner,
Yes.
Rich Lamus,
Yes.
9-0.
Thank you. Payment of bills. Motion to approve the budget transfers, payment of bills, and treasurer's report listed in our agenda packet.
So moved.
Debbie.
Second, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. Discussion. Okay, roll call vote.
Debbie Kulik,
Yes.
Lisa Van Wyk,
Yes.
George Andrews,
Yes.
Rebecca Bear,
Yes.
Tamara Bonilla,
Yes.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
Sharon Glasgow,
Yes.
Wayne Roner,
Yes.
Rich Lamus,
Yes.
9-0.
Thank you. All right, motion to approve the payment of the following invoices for services rendered in accordance with the recommendations of Properties and Facilities Finance Committee. And
So
then-
moved.
Thank you, Wayne.
Second.
George. All right, discussion. Roll call vote.
Wayne Roner,
Yes.
George Andrews,
Yes.
Rebecca Bear,
Yes.
Tamara Bonilla,
Yes.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
Sharon Glasgow,
Yes.
Debbie Kulik,
Yes.
Rich Lamus,
Yes.
Lisa Van Wyk,
Yes.
9-0.
All right. Motion to approve the pay application number 9 from C&D Waterproofing for as recommended by Properties and Facilities.
Rebecca, motion.
Second.
Wayne, a second. Rebecca as motioner. Discussion. Roll
Yes.
call vote. Oh, go ahead, Larry.
This is the final payment.
183, 184.
I think there's a little bit held back, isn't there?
Yeah, 1%.
Yeah, there's still a little bit held back, but
So the final punch list. So this is not the
Possibly.
final payment.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second. We've had some discussion. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Rebecca Bear,
Yes.
Wayne Roner,
Yes.
George Andrews,
Yes.
Tamara Bonilla,
Yes.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
Sharon Glasgow,
Yes.
Debbie Kulik,
Yes.
Rich Schlamus,
Yes.
Lisa Van Wan.
Yes.
Okay,
9-0.
thank you. All right. Okay, motion to adopt the employee safety manual for the school district as presented.
So moved, Lisa.
Second, Mary.
All right, discussion.
Yes. Is this the school law requirement that we are required to review annually? Is that what this is?
Yes.
Is there any relationship with this with the emergency operation plan?
No, actually, this is for our workers' compensation. Since we went self-insured 2 years ago, we needed to have this in place. So we've been working on it since we've been not insured.
Okay.
All right. If there's no objection, we will adopt this this motion. Okay. Motion to approve the proposal from Cintas in the amount of $24,670 for inspections of the fire safety system in these locations.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second, Lisa.
Wayne, Lisa. All right. Discussion.
Yes. Now that we just heard from Lyman and Ash, does this inspection process include the water testing of the water inside our sprinkler systems? And what I'm hearing, I think what I'm hearing is that the inspection should be including the condition of our fire sprinkler system. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's pretty much what the experts are saying, that, you know, there's yearly inspections with a checkoff list. There's the major 5-year water samples should be taken, you know, on an annual basis at several locations, you know, to check for algae and acidity and whatever.
All right, then can I ask this question? Have we been receiving these reports in the past?
The first 3 documents that I got, they don't state anything about that in there. I don't know about the documents that Lisa has sent us today.
Well, I think they're all like the same, just giving parameters. I'm looking right now, but truthfully, I don't know if I can look that quickly if anything's on there.
I would just add that all of these inspections are, it's an inspection certificate. And on each of them, it indicates that they are tested to the National Fire Protection Association standards.
Right.
So whatever the National Fire Protection Association requires is what I will assume they are testing.
And we still have a copy of these inspection certificates for the past number of years from previous inspections. Is that correct?
I just sent you 45 before this meeting.
Okay.
I don't know what year it is to and from, to be honest, but
Well, and I was at it, you know, I wasn't at home today, so I haven't had the opportunity to go through my email.
well, there is a pump flow thing. I see. I don't know. I say pump flow test.
Do we actually ask them to check the water?
If it's to the national standards, I'm okay with it.
All right. Well, what I'd like to recommend is that we order or, you know, purchase a book, and then you know, have Tom and the committee, you know, go through it and make sure that whatever the NFPA states is in the contract.
Okay, that's where I'm going with this.
Well, would we want that just put in the contract language? Just that,
Yeah.
it would just be that whatever that test is what they're doing.
That's what it says.
That's what it says.
As long as they're meeting the standards of whatever,
Right.
governing entity says we're supposed to do.
Okay, but the only thing that the national code is famous for is yeah, the first part of it might cover houses, small businesses, and whatever. Then you have to get a supplement sometimes for retirement home, or if it's a hazmat, a hazardous materials plan or something like that, that's a supplemental book. So,
These reports entail a lot if you look through it.
Okay.
Okay, so we're not the
Anyway,
experts in this.
That's right. Let's
Yeah, but
move to vote.
if we sign a contract that says they're going to do this, this, and this, and we needed 2 other or 3 other things, then we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
That's right.
Shouldn't we just have to state that it has to be to the standard that's set by the national whatever?
I think Dr. Reichert just said it is.
Right.
Yeah, it's the NFPA standards. And I believe Mr. Diamond referenced earlier the fact that when they inspected the pipe that was cut out, there wasn't any corrosion within the pipe due to the alkalinity or anything of the water. So that being said, I don't know whether that's a standard. As you said, Rich, I'm not an expert in the National Fire Protection Association standards. However, if that were something that needed to be done, either they're doing it as per the standard, or as to Larry's point, it may be a supplemental test that the board may wish to do.
Okay.
Well, not necessarily what the board wishes to do. It's just a supplement that differentiates between it being, a restaurant, a retirement home, a fabrication shop, the differentials there. So.
Yeah, I would hope that they realize we're a school and they have to apply whatever standards may apply to a school.
Absolutely.
Probably in the contract.
Yeah, well, there again, we're saying probably, might have, should have, could have.
Well, it's.
And it wasn't.
It is.
Okay.
If they don't do it up to the standards of the NFPA for schools or commercial buildings, or however the NFPA characterizes it, they're in breach of contract. No doubt about it.
There you go.
Okay. Where are we moving?
Okay.
Move to vote.
Yep. So we have a motion and a second for the proposal for Cintas. Roll call vote.
Wayne Roder,
Yes.
Lisa Van Wy,
Yes.
George Andrews,
Yes.
Rebecca Bear.
Yes.
Tamara Bonilla,
Yes.
Larry Diamond,
Yes.
Sharon Glasgow,
Yes.
Debbie Kulik, Rich Schlamus,
Yes.
9-0.
All right. Now, motion to approve the proposal from Keystone Fire Protection for an amount of $995 to convert the fire alarm monitoring system at a building, right? That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Okay.
moved.
Thank you, Wayne.
Second, Rebecca.
Thank you, Rebecca. Okay. Discussion. Hearing none. If there is no objection, we'll adopt this motion.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Motion to approve the proposal from Keystone Fire in an amount of $590 for a central monitoring service at JM Hill.
So moved,
So moved.
Lisa.
Second.
Lisa and Wayne, thank you. All right, you guys can battle it out. Discussion? All right, if there's no objection, we'll adopt this motion. School calendar. Let's have some more fun. Motion to approve the revised 2019-2020 school calendar as presented to reflect one inclement weather closing. The school closure ordered by the governor and the school closure ordered by the governor for coronavirus pandemic, establishing June 13th, 2020 as the date for high school graduation.
So moved, Debbie.
Debbie,
Second, Mary.
Mary, thank you. Discussion. All right. If there's no objection, we'll adopt this motion. All right. Motion to approve the 2020-2021 school calendar as presented, and definitely going to happen.
Absolutely. So moved.
All right. Lisa,
Second, Mary.
thank you, Mary. Discussion. Yeah. Okay. Then if there's no objection, we'll adopt this motion for the calendar for next year. Emergency preparedness and response. Motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the school district and the school police as presented.
So moved, Debbie.
Thank you, Debbie.
Second, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. Motion and a second for the ESASD school police. Discussion. All right, if there's no objection, we'll adopt the motion for that motion. All right, and I'm losing it too here. Hold on. All right, so motion to approve. Yeah, me too. Motion to approve the extension of food delivery by the food services and transportation departments until June 30th, 2020, in accordance with the recommendations of the Finance Committee.
So moved, Lisa.
Second, Rebecca.
Thank you, Lisa. Rebecca. Second. Discussion. All right. If there's no objection, we'll adopt this motion. All right. A motion to approve the cafeteria school lunch prices for the 2021 school year as follows. No increases in the prices, and these were recommended by the Finance Committee.
So moved.
Thank you, Wayne.
Second, Debbie.
Thank you, Debbie. Discussion.
I'm glad we're keeping the prices the same.
Thank you. All right, if there's no objection, we will adopt this motion. Next one, motion to approve the cafeteria school breakfast prices for the 2021 school year as follows, with no increase in accordance with the Finance Committee.
So moved, Debbie.
I heard
Second.
Debbie. Lisa.
Second, Lisa.
Thank you. Discussion. If there's no objection, we'll adopt this motion. We've already gone through contracted services. Yay. All right. Motion to approve the proposal from Government Software Solutions to provide tax bill printing services for the collection of the 2021 school year, real estate taxes for Lehman and Porter Townships at the rate set forth in the agreement.
So moved.
Thank you, Wayne.
Second. Oh, go ahead, George. Give it to George.
Let me hear it to George. All right, discussion. Seeing none, if there's no objection, we'll adopt this motion. A motion to approve the proposal from Lighthouse in the amount of $1,085 for third-party reporting services in accordance with the recommendation of the Finance Committee, and after review with the Chief Financial Officer and District Solicitor. Yeah, see language already there.
Debbie.
Somebody said something?
Debbie.
Debbie, all right.
Moving forward.
Who seconded it?
Second.
Thank you, George. All right, discussion.
Rich, it's Maria. Before you adjourn, can I just ask you a question?
You can ask me a question.
Just quick. Mr. Horn said that you would be discussing giving refunds for school trips, and I did not see that come up on the agenda. Was that left out?
That
Here.
is a Thomas question, I think.
It's
Tom
here.
McIntyre. Is it?
Is there?
I read it somewhere. I don't know if it was all.
I didn't see it. I was trying to look for it and I didn't see it, but
Yeah,
maybe
I
it's
didn't
different.
see it.
We were going to talk about it in executive session.
Oh, I guess it's
there
not
we
here.
go.
I read something else.
Yeah, that'll be an executive session item. So it did not make
Did
it
that
through.
happen already or the next one?
No, it's not yet discussed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Mr. Horn.
Missed
Okay.
my last ones.
Okay, so we have a motion by Debbie and George, seconded by George, for the Lighthouse third-party reporting services discussion. I want to thank Tom and his crew for getting this on the table, getting us a whistleblower policy. I mean, we've done a lot has been done for the past several months. Okay. So there's motion second, no discussion. If there's no objection, we'll adopt this motion. One more.
Yay.
Unless there's anything else that we're missing here. Okay, so there's a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Lisa.
Okay, thank you.
We're logging into
Lisa?
executive session.
Yes, so from here, let's take 5, so at 9:31, or let's make it 9:35. Let's do that. Give us a few moments to use the restroom and everything.
The same link that we had previous.
There's
All nine of you have an email from.
Brian sent an email out.
Ryan sent the new
You
email.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay,
And can we please take 10?
Yes, at 10. He
all right, so
I really,
37.
literally, I have
37.
to wash my face because I'm like exhausted.
Right, 37.
Okay, thank you.
9:37. Right, thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.